channel. Today I wanted to touch base a little about some holistic interventions and holistic approaches to mental health. So that's what we specialize in here at Happy and Free Healing. We are primarily a mental health counseling center, but we also have a heavy focus on yoga. We had a yoga studio here that's now become virtual with COVID, but all of our practitioners here, myself as the owner and founder, and all of our therapists that work here do really resonate with and practice from a framework of a holistic model. So I'm going to touch base on a few of the things that I actually cover when I do trainings for other licensed therapists about holistic health. And I'm going to put that into a series of videos, but today I really just wanted to touch base on that because we do get some questions from new clients that are seeking out services with us here at the practice, and just from in general with all the different things we're doing with yoga, with healing, with Reiki. So I wanted to give a little bit of background on these different healing modalities and explain a little bit more about them. So this comes from a training that I lead for other therapists, and it's called Holistic Approaches, Integrating Energy Healing and Mental Health Counseling. So really what I want to touch on a little bit is identifying different ways that we implement holistic techniques and energy healing into our work. Really exploring different systems of energy healing throughout the decades, and explaining how we're integrating these into our practice. So there was a Nobel Prize winner, Albert Szent-Györgyi, and he was a biochemist, and he actually was quoted as saying, "In every culture and in every medical tradition before ours, healing was accomplished by moving energy." And so we have this concept of energy pretty much in every culture in the world. There's a concept that, we are made up of energy. So really it comes from a scientific perspective with physics. Energy cannot be created or destroyed, just changed. We look at more of the Eastern philosophies and the concept of Qi being a life force or vital energy. When you see people practicing Tai Chi, they are really harnessing that energy, moving it through their bodies in different ways to create power or to create healing. When we look at yoga and the Ayurvedic and the Indian system, life force energy is called prana. So really with every different, culture and religion, in Christianity and Western culture, we consider it the soul, that there is some kind of immutable energy within each person that cannot really be limited or named and is separate from the physical body. So wherever we're coming from, there is this idea of energy. And so that's where a lot of our holistic modalities stem from, is energy medicine, energy healing. So primarily the modalities that we use here at our practice that are holistic are yoga. So incorporating yoga therapy, Ayurvedic techniques, which is more from the Eastern tradition of understanding how energy and our body creates our health. Reiki, so myself, I am a Reiki master. We have other people on our staff that are trained in Reiki, and Reiki really at its core is the channeling of a universal life force or a higher energy through the practitioner into the clients to allow them to have healing from that life force energy. We also focus a lot on meditation and mindfulness, but when you talk about mindfulness and meditation, that can range from anything from a traditional, yoga meditation where we envision sitting in our meditation silently. It can incorporate moving meditation, walking or running, can incorporate prayer and manifesting things. So that's another, holistic modality we use a lot, very often in therapy. And we also very often recommend incorporating other holistic, ventures or modalities into healing, even the ones that we aren't necessarily certified in the mental health field. So if people are coming in and they're complaining about, physical symptoms or pain, in addition to the mental health work, very often we will recommend engaging in some kind of treatment with acupuncture, herbalism, massage, chiropractic. And so really having that, well-rounded full circle use of holistic modalities into our overall health, because physical symptoms can definitely end up encroaching on our mental well-being over time. So just to get started a little bit, we'll start with Reiki just because it's a pretty clear example think a lot of people are becoming more and more familiar with Reiki because it's being more accepted by Western medicine as well. We're seeing a lot of cancer centers offering Reiki treatments. We're just seeing it being recommended by doctors more and more because it's an intervention that is actually pretty simple, pretty benign, and the recipient is a very passive recipient. So if you're a client receiving Reiki, basically you can sit there in a meditative state and be receiving this Reiki healing and not have to be very active on your part. So Reiki was founded by Dr. Mikao Usui, who was born in a Buddhist family in 1865. And he really was involved in this mind-body treatment, mind-body-spirit approach. And so the word Reiki actually comes from the Japanese word rei, which means universal life, and ki, which means energy. And so it's a subtle kind of energy work, and it's using a spiritually guided life force energy. So that's something that we practice here, really kind of harnessing that, and not necessarily just with Reiki treatments, but in helping clients to identify that they can harness that energy for themselves through meditation, through guided imagery, visualizations, things like that. So energy medicine as a whole is defined through the National Center for Complementary and Integrative Health. They actually distinguish two types of energy medicine. So there's veritable energy medicine, which is observable energy. So something like magnet therapy, light therapy, those are considered forms of energy medicine, but they're very measurable. It's visible, the kind of energy that's having that effect. So transmagnetic cranial stimulation, so those kind of treatments where, scientifically you can see the effect of that magnet, you can verify that with science, so it's observable. And then there's also putative energy medicine, which is invoking physically undetectable or unverifiable energies. So biofeedback, biofield energy healing, so spiritual healing, psychic healing, Reiki, Tai Chi, things like that, where the practitioner is envisioning that this energy is working and moving through us, but it's not something you can necessarily gauge with traditional scientific tools. So something else that we like to touch on here at our practice, or at least I do in my practice, is combining like Reiki and the chakra system and crystals. And so it might sound a little new agey to some people, and that's fine. The crystals have been really revered for thousands of years for their healing properties, and they're a very tangible way to connect to energy. So some people who might be really interested in energy and Reiki in the chakra system, they might have a really hard time feeling that or picking up on those feelings. So I really love using crystals to help them get that sense of feeling. And so with crystals, it's feeling a connection to the earth as a tangible tool. They each give off distinct vibrations. You can utilize crystals by infusing them with thought and intentions. It's believed that crystals actually pick up on our unique vibrational energy and amplify energies that we send out to them. Their use dates back to ancient times. They were used as protective talismans, peace offerings, for jewelry, for personal care. Quartz crystals, which are actually really common here in Rhode Island. Every time I hike, I find, loads of quartz crystals. It's amazing. They actually make up 12% of the Earth's crust, and they're used in almost all of our technology without us even realizing it. So watches, electronics, information storage. What's interesting is that IBM, one of the original computer companies, there was a scientist, Marcel Vogel, and while watching crystals grow under a microscope, he noticed that their shape took the form of what he was thinking about. So he could actually change this crystalline structure of the crystals as he was observing them, as he was thinking different things. So their vibrational energy, he hypothesized that was a result of constant assembling and disassembling and reassembling of these connections between the molecules and crystals. So he tested that with quartz crystals and proved that rocks can store thoughts and frequencies and energies, very similar to how audio cassette tapes use magnetic energy to record sound. So really crystals store vibrational energy, they pick up on it and they can release it. So a really simple exercise I like to use, as you see I always have my crystals around me, is the use of a pendulum for practice. And so this is just one of the pendulums that I like to use, and it's fuchsite with rubies in it, and so it's just a certain type of crystal. But I'll use this to help people circle in on their energy, and so you can actually hold this over your hand and start to envision something positive. And you'll notice that for most people, positive, the direction that it will start to go in is a clockwise direction. And then if you start to focus in on something that's maybe sad or negative or a no answer in your head, it will start to reverse directions and go counterclockwise. And then if I really focus on quieting my mind and trying not to send any thoughts to that crystal, I can usually get that crystal to stop moving or to become a little more still. So I always give the example, if I think of something really, really, really positive, like I'm going to think about, a really good day I had recently with my family and all the wonderful times, all the sensations, the love I felt, the joy I felt, the beautiful sunshine on my face, can really get some more motion there. So we use crystals a lot, or I use crystals a lot in my practice, not only to help people get in touch with their energy and realize that your thoughts carry an energy that can become very visible. So something like this, if I have a client hold this crystal and begin to envision something that maybe makes them think of an energy that might feel more negative to them, to realize that's creating energy, that they're giving out energy there, and how that might be manifesting in their lives. Maybe people don't want to be around them and they can't figure out why, or people say they're giving off a bad energy. Well, you're literally giving off that energy. You can measure that, you can see that by using the crystals. I also use that a lot with the chakra system, and we'll talk about the chakra system in a moment. But we have energy centers throughout our body, starting down at the base of our spine, going the whole way up through the crown of our head. We have a series of chakras, and you can use a crystal pendulum to read the energy at those chakra centers, to see maybe where we have balances or imbalances in our body. So a lot of popular crystals that we recommend for mental health is selenite. I just happen to have all my crystals on my desk because I keep them there during the day. So selenite is a really nice cleansing crystal. It helps, for meditation. And we have one of my favorite crystals, lapis lazuli, and that's a beautiful blue crystal. It's really good for our heart. It's really good for grounding and for centering. So, and we actually have some quartz here as well. I was just talking about quartz, which is very prevalent in Rhode Island, and it just amplifies the energy of anything that it's around. So some wonderful crystals there. So I also wanted to touch a little bit on this idea of mindfulness and meditation. So we use a lot of mindfulness in therapy. So even if you're not familiar with more holistic therapy, different forms of therapy like DBT or dialectical behavior therapy or mindfulness-based stress reduction therapy, or even CBT, traditional cognitive behavioral therapy, they do have a form of mindfulness or meditation as one of their basic principles that they use. And there are so many forms of mindfulness and meditation, and we get asked, frequently about Eastern versus Western philosophies, and is there a religious component to meditation? And some people who are very strictly religious of one form or the other might feel like meditation might not be something that aligns with their values or their beliefs. But really, I want to focus in on the idea that meditation and mindfulness are very much something that are across the board. Every culture, every religion has their own form of this. And so if you don't resonate with the type of meditation or mindfulness from maybe the yogic tradition, or you see it as being a Far Eastern philosophy that doesn't align with your unique belief system, that's okay, because really prayer is pure meditation and mindfulness. You can incorporate this into everyday life. If you're in that flow, if you have an activity that you love doing, whether it's running or hiking or baking or painting, when you're in that state where you have a singular focus of your mind and nothing else seems to matter and nothing else is distracting you, that is mindfulness. That's pure mindfulness. So really being able to feel comfortable with this idea of mindfulness and not have it seem like something that's unattainable, or, oh, I could never meditate, my mind is too busy for that. but really feeling like if I can get into a state where my mind isn't wandering and where I feel solely focused on what's in front of me, that is mindfulness. So there's a lot of types of meditation, like very specific types of meditation, that if you're curious, you can explore these a little further. And very often, myself and the other therapists here at my practice will kind of walk people through some of these different forms of mindfulness and meditation to find something that someone really resonates with. So there's loving kindness meditation, there's body scanning or progressive relaxation, there's just mindfulness meditation, sitting mindfully, there's breath awareness meditation, so doing intense breath work to get in touch with how you're feeling. Kundalini yoga, there's Zen meditation, transcendental, that's a hard one to say, meditation. Or again, just prayer. Someone from a Catholic tradition might say that praying the rosary is a really intense form of mindfulness and meditation, repeating a mantra. So within yoga, that might be a mantra in Sanskrit, but within the Catholic tradition, that might be repeating the same prayer over and over. So many different ways to incorporate meditation and mindfulness into your daily life. One of our favorite resources here is YouTube. I mean, it's free, and you can type in guided meditation, progressive relaxation, guided imagery, mantra meditation. You can type in so many things and have right at your fingertips hours and hours and hours worth of resources. So if you're not able to get to therapy right now, if you're not able to get to a yoga class right now, this is part of the reason I'm uploading these videos, is to kind of educate and provide the resources for people who might not have the time or money or insurance coverage or whatever that they need for therapy, traditional therapy, but that we can provide this resource online, and YouTube is full of those types of resources. So I also wanted to talk a little bit today. I know we had touched on it a little bit before, but how meditation and mindfulness can lead into this idea of manifestation. So a manifestation is the public display of emotion or feeling or something that was kind of in theory and has become real. And the origins of manifestation are religion and spirituality, because it's like prayers becoming realized, or something that we've set as an intention within, our thoughts, within our spiritual world becoming a reality. And so I think that links really well with this idea of why we incorporate mindfulness and meditation into mental health. So if we are walking around all day thinking I'm depressed and feeling stigmatized by mental health, and if we are carrying labels with us, maybe from other providers or from past treatment, and our label is PTSD or depression or anxiety, you're almost manifesting remaining stuck in those patterns, because it becomes something where you're constantly thinking about it. You're maybe perseverating about symptoms. Your mind is cluttered by just how miserable maybe you are feeling because of those symptoms. So mindfulness, meditation, prayer, it's a chance to bring the powers of manifesting into your healing journey. And so if I want to manifest healing within myself or a client, I can use those tools of mindfulness, meditation, prayer to say, let's take some time and envision, what would my life be like if I didn't have these symptoms of panic attacks? What would my life look like? My family, my relationships, my career, my schoolwork, what would this look like if I woke up tomorrow and I have manifested healing? If I was feeling 1,000% better, or even just 50% better to start. And so this idea of manifesting, finding ways to harness the energy around us to bring the things that we want to happen into fruition. So that's definitely a big part of why we believe that meditation and mindfulness and prayer are so powerful, why we think that this holistic model is really useful. So it's just a lot of questions, that we can look at, and trying to look at these different holistic ways that we can harness, this energy, this universal life force within us in treatment. So going through, schooling to become a therapist, a lot of the focus is very dry, very academic, very research oriented. It's cognitive behavioral therapy, which I love, and it has a great place. Challenging thoughts, recording thoughts, seeing where our triggers are, what our emotions are. It's huge. It's definitely a big part of healing. Changing behaviors, planning out how are we going to activate new routines. It's really huge. But over time, I think you start to realize there's more to it, that there is something deep within every person, some kind of universal energy or spirit or chi or prana that is behind all of that, and that has its own health, that has its own energy system, that has its own system of how it lives in our bodies. So getting back a little to this concept of chi or of life force. And so in Eastern traditions, there's this thought process of the yin and yang. And so you've seen the yin yang symbol that I can't really visualize right now without having a graphic. Maybe I can put one on the screen as I'm talking about it. But the idea of having a masculine and feminine energy that are balancing each other out, or the concept of having a light and a dark energy that always exists within us, but sometimes it becomes imbalanced. So if too much of that dark energy starts to take over, then maybe we're prone to that depression or that anxiety. If too much of that light energy takes over, then maybe we're prone to toxic positivity or becoming kind of rose-colored glasses, and we're ignoring problems that come up because we think we need to stay positive all the time. So understanding where that energy is, traditionally in Eastern medicine, the yin energy would be seen as female energy, nighttime energy, passive energy, moon energy, intuitive, soft energy. The yang energy is seen as more male, daytime, sunlight, active, logical, hot, tough kind of energy. And I think we can all see sometimes in ourselves where that imbalance happens and how that can lead to different things that might affect our mental or our physical health. Looking at how then we perceive that energy flowing through our bodies, there's a lot of different theories. So there's the theories of the meridians or the nadis in our bodies. So pathways through which that chi energy flows. There's a whole bunch of really interesting dynamics and lessons that you can research on this, but we won't go too in depth on it today. A lot of this I use in trainings that I run, but I wanted to just give an overview of some of these ideas of why and how imbalances occur in our bodies, and how there's just a lot that we can do to try to clear up these imbalances and to try to get our systems more aligned for healing. So that brings us into the chakras. So like I mentioned before with the crystals, we are trying to gauge the chakras in our body, and I'll put a graphic up to show some of the chakras, but we have the root chakra that's responsible for grounding, for kind of the base of our spine, for feeling safe. The sacral chakra, which is right at our belly button, and that's, a lot of our emotional center is there. The solar plexus, which is right below where our chest bone is, and that's for, energy and vitality and strength. Our heart chakra at our heart for love and compassion. Our throat chakra, right at our throat, obviously, for communication and healing and some creativity. Our third eye chakra, where we have our intuition and our clairvoyance, our sense, our inner sense of knowing. And then our crown chakra at the very top of our head, where we have a deeper understanding, a connection to the universe, enlightenment, spirituality. So the chakra system is envisioned as 7 spinning wheels of energy, starting at the base of our spine, working up. Each chakra is associated with different colors, with different crystals, with different activities or movements. And in therapy, I like to connect the chakra system to Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And so Maslow is something that's familiar to a lot of therapists, but he had created basically this triangle that he used to explain the different needs, and how we all kind of start at the bottom there with a sense of physiological needs needing to be met, which is just really basic: breathing, food, water, physical health, and then we move up to safety. security, knowing that we have the resources we need, family support, goes up to love and belonging, so friends, family, intimacy, communication, and then esteem, so self-esteem, confidence, a sense of achievement, respect. And once all of those needs are met in order is when we can proceed up to self-actualization. So a sense of morality, spirituality, creativity, problem solving, acceptance. And I think it mirrors so well, the chakra system and Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And I think that's where, as therapists, we can basically overlap the two and see how the chakra system and the sense of energy and physical energy in our bodies translates to all of these different themes of our mental health as well. And so that's, something we definitely use a lot within therapy, or at least I do, as far as, really trying to find that connection between physical healing, starting with those root needs that we have in that root chakra, moving our way up. Because if we find a blockage there, within our energy centers, a lot of times that blockage is going to translate very clearly to the issue that the person is having. Maybe the reason that person decided to come to therapy, maybe a physical symptom they're having. We can very clearly almost always relate that to the place in our chakras where we're feeling a block. And as Maslow would say, you cannot move to that next level of actualization if you have a block or you're not getting a need met at a lower level. And that's where I really like to translate the chakras into that. So you can use meditation to unblock the chakras. You can focus on specific foods, colors, energies, crystals, movements, activities at each of those chakra centers to unblock or to balance those chakras in order to have that chi, that prana, that life energy flowing smoothly again. So I think for today, I threw a lot of information in there, but I just felt the need to really get a little bit of the holistic modalities explained. We get so many questions on that, you're a holistic therapy practice, or you're doing yoga with this mental health component. What does that mean? What does that look like? And I think without explaining and exploring vital life force energy, the concepts that go along with that, like Reiki, meditation, prayer, mindfulness, spirituality, chakras, I think that's the foundation. We need to have a basic understanding of those things in order to go deeper with healing, with holistic modalities. And so I'm hoping, in addition to the yoga videos and meditation videos that we're uploading here on our channel, I'm hoping to go a little bit deeper each week, maybe giving some examples of some of these different healing modalities we use, and giving some tools that you can use at home to also, get some healing from some of these practices that we are employing here with our clients and that you can do yourself. And just getting a deeper understanding of how our body is a holistic organism and how we're part of, a bigger community with not only the people and other beings that are around us, but also the earth and nature, and how all of that energy is always ebbing and flowing and is affecting us. And so I even love the idea of how, astrology and the moon and the sun and the tides, how that can affect us. There are so many things we think of, nature therapy, ecotherapy. They've done studies on blue zones, on the parts of the world that we live in, if we live close to the ocean, how that not only impacts, the type of energy that we're taking in, but, the kind of foods that we're eating, the exercises we're doing. There's so much that encompasses holistic therapy. And I'm hoping to really provide some insight into that, throughout our videos that we post up here. So if you have any questions, you can comment below. If you are enjoying learning about these things, you can hit like and subscribe to our channel, and you can get all the first updates and alerts when new videos come out. And definitely, if you have any other questions about our practice in general, you can go on our website, www.happyandfreehealing.org, happy and free healing, all one word, and I can link that in our bio as well. But I hope you guys have a really great week, and focus in maybe on learning about a new form of mindfulness or meditation, and see how that feels, doing 5 or 10 minutes every day of a mindfulness practice. And we'll see you next time. Bye.